Hello and welcome to today's Material Musings. So, we are busy in our endeavours to work on the Kawandi, the larger one, so that's still in progress. There's no point me showing you additional lines that I've stitched. And I've been working on this piece. So I've added more beading around the edges. I've just got to secure these ones. And then I'm looking to continue to fill up inside of it. So again, it's just work that you've got to continue to do to get it finished. And then I'm going to add some more stitching. But what I thought would be nice today to do is show you some pieces where I've added beading. Now I have shared a few pieces previously in other Material Musings, but I thought I needed some inspiration for myself, and sometimes you have to go back into look back and see how far you've come and think, okay, because I was feeling a bit kind of hesitant at adding the beadings that I was feeling to add to that particular one to get it to the stage that I want it to be at. And so I was looking at some other pieces, some older pieces, and I was thinking, actually, I was even more flamboyant in terms of my adding beading previously than I had, had been more recently. So I was just like, let's look through some of the pieces that I've done that have had beading, and I'll talk a bit about it so that you can see how easy it is to add beading, but also what a different and dramatic sometimes effect it can make to a piece. And there's an artist that inspires me, and she does a lot of beading. It's Joyce Scott. She's a mixed media artist, but she does a lot of beadwork, glass work. She sings, she acts, performs. And what else does she do? She makes pictorial quilts, and I find her work really inspiring. And again, she does the things that she's inspired. Did I say she sings as well? But it's inspiring as a creative, as a mixed media artist, to see somebody else who does so many things and does them well. And it inspires me to just continue in terms of the kind of art that I like to do, the ways in which I want to express myself. I always say never, because I've said that, and then the very thing I've said, like the slow stitching, I'd always said I didn't have time for that. But then I realised that I've been doing that in my work, but I wasn't, really kind of intentionally thinking, yes, that's what you do. So I was going to say I'm never going to do glass blowing. Yeah, it's not something that I just feel it's, oh my gosh, it's so dangerous. But who knows, further down the line I might decide. And that's what it's about. If doing glass blowing is the way in which what I want to express is able to come out, then that's what you do. So I'm also going to try and show you, I probably won't be able to show you it all in one sitting, because then that would make for a very long video, all of the beading, or the beads. I've got a selection of beads that I want to go through, and again, that's about inspiration, and talk about, maybe I have to do a separate video about that further down the week, or maybe next week, but that will be into September. But looking at the kinds of things that you collect and how you can potentially use them in your mixed media slow stitched pieces, and is there stories that you want to tell? Is there something that piece reminds you of? Or like this piece, this is what's known as vintage. But I used to work in a bookshop called Grassroots many moons ago, and we used to have a couple of traders come in and a lady from, I think she was from Nigeria, a man who would travel to Tanzania, Kenya, all over the place basically, and bring stuff back, and we would sell not only books but artifacts, some jewelry, some fabric, clothes, and we would also have local creatives, you know, so who would make clothes as well, but more with African material. And yeah, for those of you who know of grassroots back in the day. Anyway, so that's what we're going to look at. And yeah, so let's get on and look at some of these pieces that have been inspiring me to create them, and they're going to re-inspire me to then move on to other pieces. So, to the table. Well, so hi and welcome. So we're going to be looking at, as I say, a few pieces of art that I've used beading on, and we'll then look at the inspiration for the pieces and how, I mean, if you're thinking that you want to use beading and use it in a way in terms of mixed media projects, then you can. So this actually goes this way, but to be able to fit it on, I'm just gonna have to put it this way. So this piece is called, is part of a series of 4 wall hangings, and they're called Fragmented Stories. And it uses, this is Fragmented Stories blue, we've got green, red and yellow, I think, and it's really to symbolize the different elements. Air, so this one would be, that's why it's blue, fire, water and soil, the land, earth. And so yeah, I have gone through with this particular one and created all the different sections. So some of these panels, they're panels that were in different sections, and then they were attached to a main panel that had been painted. We've got, you know, some doodling and lots of work that will come in slightly. Oops. It's like it. And then I've found the different types of elements that I wanted to use. Different beads, buttons we've got on here, we've got cowrie shells on here, seed beads, bugle beads, and they've all just been incorporated on this piece. And as a mixed media artist, I do love incorporating many different elements, and it's not just adding the elements for the sake of it, it's adding elements that are speaking to you at the time. So this is one of my favorite colors as well, and so I just allowed myself to go with the flow of what I was creating, and allow it just to speak and to tell the story that it wanted to tell. And it's just one of those pieces that you do have to just take time and look at the different things that have been added, and it's just a really lovely experience. So I'm hoping that this will be on in an exhibition shortly. So that's this piece, Fragmented Stories blue, and the other one that I've got to show you is the green. And this too has a wide range of, in terms of the colour, the doodling aspect, not as say busy in a way to this particular one, with a lot more contrast in terms of the white and the blue, but we've got more of the variety of greens, and that green is also picked up in the border or the backing. I've used a really nice bright coloured backing. So this has got, yeah, a range of the beads that I've had. I've also made a selection of the beads here, and it was a really lovely project to be able to do, to create my own beads, and that's something that I will do again. It's wrapped in fabric, it's dyed, it's painted, and then I've also wrapped them with some seed beads and metal. Yep. So yeah, it's always inspiring for me to be able to see the work that I've already done with some beadings, and will come, I say beadings or beads, will come in a bit more so that you can see some of the detail, and then I'll move it along. So we can take a look at these are the handmade beads. But yeah, I went along with the project and added the beads as I was inspired to. The piece is originally, as I say, painted, and then it is stitched, and some of these elements are added afterwards and stitched, and then the whole piece is added to the backing fabric. Okay, so that's the Fragmented Stories and green, and there are two more which I will show here. We've got the yellow and then we've got the red. So we'll now look at some smaller pieces that I have worked on, and we can see, you know, some larger beads around the edge, and then I've come in on the clothes and used the seed beads. You'll have to come in close. So you can see how you can incorporate the seed beads either as a pattern or, you know, just adorning the piece, and this almost looks like, you know, their clothes are, this is part of their clothes, and then just used some jewelry bits in some areas there for the butterflies. But these were painted first, and then I worked with the beads and putting it together. And this one's called Embrace. Okay, so that one's called Embrace. This one's called Eyes Wide Open. And again, I've used some beads, but then also used some broken jewelry, or jewelry that, you know, this was from an earring set, and it looks, I've added that to hers, so she's got earrings and then the necklace, and then decorated it using the stitch, and we've got some beads down at the bottom here. But these can be hung as wall hangings, or they can be framed. So this can come out and it can be framed like that. So it actually looked quite nice, I think, in a frame, and the frame also protects the fabric as well. And then we've got this one in which we've used, it's called Two Hearts. We've used again the painting, the figure, the image, but then I have used the beads to accentuate her clothes and the hearts, and we'll come in and see the clothes in a bit more detail. So just looking at that, I'm reminded that actually I have spent time, you know, in the really detailed work, because sometimes you just think, did I do that? You know, it's just like, have I got the time to do it now? And it's like you have to find the space and take your time. You know, sometimes you may not feel like adding each single bead to a piece like this, but I really enjoyed the looking at the colours of the beads, that helped with also a kind of meditative kind of stitching that I was able to do. And then you go back and attach the beads, add the beads, and then decide where else you want to have them. But I just really like how this one turned out. And this one I think I probably will put in a frame so that it can be protected, because you've got the layers of paint, stenciling and all of that. It just makes it a nice way to just keep the piece intact. So that's 2 hearts. So we also wanted to just look at some of the beads and inspirations and some of the things that you can do in terms of combining a set of beads. Right, so what I like to do, so this is a selection of beads and broken jewellery, but what I do like to do is every now and again, and I haven't done this for a while, so just take out what you have and have a look at it, because there may be pieces, it depends. If you're the kind that does collect quite a lot, you may have quite a bit that you're sitting on that you haven't looked at for a long time, and there may be some pieces that are suitable for a project that you could be working on, or for a future project. So it's nice to be able to take time out and look at some of the beads. So you could also look at the containers as well, because this was I'm glad I brought this, because it houses 12 containers, mini containers, into a larger container. And this is how I store some of the supplies. Yeah, so we're just gonna take a look in each, and I'll speak to what I might do with that particular supply. I had been recently thinking about working with beads, and especially the wooden beads. And so for the kawandi that I had, the several different kawandis, I had thought about identifying my wooden beads and putting them together in a project. And I thought that the wooden beads would actually look quite nice. So now I've got another one here that I might actually have to put them all together. So I've got wooden beads in this container, and at different sizes. This is, I think it's actually bone, actually, but this was bought many moons ago. So what I might do is transfer these sets of beads and put them into one of these containers. And then I've got some really tiny beads, as in wooden beads, and these ones would make nice like end bits. But I think it's important, if you are going to be using beads, you know, obviously to have some sort of storage where you can keep them and be able to access them as and when you need. And I did at one point start to try and colour coordinate the beads, but I ran out of space. So until I can get a few more like these particular smaller containers filled with beads, so these are all the blues and the greens, and then a lot of them are like this in terms of, well, okay, there's some wooden beads in here that could go, there's some brighter colours. I wanted just to have the kind of these kind of off-whites, whites and creams in here. But yeah, as and when I get the containers to put them in and more storage space. But yeah, so this has also got some They're glass beads or jade from a necklace that broke. But the main one is, you know, these orangey coloured ones, which I could maybe look at a project and see how they work. And then these ones, which they almost look like clay. It's got that kind of look on it, so that can add a nice element to a piece. And then you've got these kind of long pieces that could maybe, you know, you could put them together. So that's those. Again, another place that I get a lot of my beads from are from jewellery. Like I might go into a store and you'll see a nice necklace that you like, or a necklace that you like but it's not one that you would potentially wear. And so I found this one. I loved the colours, and it's got some smaller elements as well. So I now just need to find a project for this. And then these kind of copper, kind of brass or metal looking end pieces that could either go with this in a project, or there may be another project, and what I might need to do is separate them. Again, it's a good time to be able to look through what you have, and in doing that I could say, well, I totally forgot I had these ones and they're quite pretty, but there may be another set of beads that they go with better. And then we have more of the, this is more like broken jewellery. So there may have been, again, one's jewellery that I've found in the charity store. Some of them are like earring sets, and I would take them apart and use them in a project. So as I say, yeah, so some of them would usually have like missing, like this one's got some missing jewellery to it. It looks quite pretty though. So what I would more than likely do is either use the beads there, or as a whole, like I did with this particular one, and use the whole set of earrings. I could do that with that, or use just partial, like, you know, the beads that come along with this. And again, yeah, just it's going through. I've collected a lot over the years, so this is several years of collections, and it's just a part of it. This one, it looked like it was I don't know, a ring of some sort. I don't know which is, my fingers is not big enough for, is too big for that one. Again, jewellery. We'll go through it all. So some rings, let's see what we've got in here. So I would find things like brooches, or, you know, I think a lot of these came from the charity store, but they make for either nice using the jewel bits that are in there, or using it as a whole. Like some of, like these were missing when I found them, so I could, you know, take these out and use them on a project, and then use this separately. I could fill it with some sort of paint, enamel paint, but you'll find a lot of the jewelry that you will get, or find in a thrift store, has bits missing, and you can remove, you see, you can remove some of the elements there. So I can either, with this, I can either set it in like I would create paper clay figures. So I could either set it in clay or find a way to attach it to a fabric art project. So that's that. And then you have larger kind of pieces that would have been for a necklace, but this makes for a nice kind of centerpiece for a project. Again, in these two, like this one, finding different beads and putting them together. So I wanted to make centerpieces for a project, so I created these. And it could be that, yeah, oh, these are earrings that I bought, and I lost the other one. I used to love silver earrings. Somehow I would always lose one of the earrings. It was just like crazy. So this is my earrings that I used to have and lost. I've remembered them in here, but there was a specific designer whose earrings I really loved, and she was just around the corner from where I used to work, and every now and again I would go in and see another one that I really liked. So again, I would leave them in here and look at the kind of projects that I've got that would maybe I'll be able to use these on. And gold as well, look at the different types of golden jewelry, and I would sometimes use the links. You could use the links to create some of the larger links, so it's useful to kind of look and see. I think this is a ring, but it's again got the bits missing. So again, I would take out the jewel bits there and put it on another project. Oh, haven't seen this for a while. Well, I say I haven't seen this for a while because, yeah, it's been stuck in here and waiting to be used on a project. So let's continue looking. So they're separated kind of like loosely, but I do have to go through and look at what is here and what can be used. What projects have I got that I want to use them? And sometimes you just want to have a look. You're not thinking of a project. Look, this could be used as a stencil. And it reminds me that I've got some brass stencils. Oh, I'll have to find them. So it brings back memories of things that you had. This has got a little tiger on it. So these are as an earring set. It's interesting. So what I would do is change up the bit for the ears. And then we've got wooden elements. What else have we got in here? Let's just quickly go through the rest. But I really do love looking through these kind of things. It's just like, I'll just open out a few. So I think in some of them I've actually got jewellery. So jewellery that I've bought and just haven't worn for a while, because I became allergic to the metal, or gold or silver. I had to stop wearing jewelry. It's eased up now, so like every now and again I can wear something, but on my neck I can't wear any. I can't allow any metal to touch my neck, so I'm having to. I love this one, but having to find a replacement for this metal. And once I can, I'll be able to wear it. The only thing is that I couldn't allow this metal to touch my skin, so I'm not sure that it's silver. So that's that one. You've got a really large one here. I love this one. Again, it's when I used to work in the bookstore, so every now and again I'll bring it out, and again I need to change this end piece, because if it touches my neck I will get a rash on my neck. Here's another lovely one that I really like. But yeah, so I had thought of taking these ones apart, but I've kept them together because it's just like you've got enough at the moment to get on with, rather than having to take this one that you could potentially wear apart. So I also have like chains, and then these can be taken apart because you can split them. Yeah, you just need your tool to split them, and they're good for adding elements to your pieces, so it's quite easy to split them apart. So I keep that, it's like the findings, so I keep them. And in this one I made some clay, just elements. I hadn't decided what to do. I was going to make some large beads, but then just before it had dried I should have poked the hole through it, but didn't. So yeah, so it's just really a selection of the beads and jewelry that you could potentially look at and maybe incorporate into a project. So you can create some really interesting focal points. Even with this one, I could create an enclosure that holds it and then attach that to a larger piece, and see how we get on. But yeah, if you've got any pieces around in your stash that you've been sitting on, maybe now's the time to bring some of them out and see how you can incorporate them into some creative projects. So I'm going to leave it there, and hopefully you may have seen something that inspires you, or you may have seen something that you thought, wow, I forgot I had those earrings. Like I'd found these, a ring. It's not really my kind of ring, but I was thinking about the elements, the bits that it had in it. And then I thought, no, actually, I don't particularly want to do that to this ring. I might just keep it, or, send it back to the charity store, see if somebody else wants it. But I found these earrings, but it was, and they were very pretty. And I was thinking, oh, that would be nice on a project. I think I've got a brooch to this as well. But yeah, see what you have and see what you can bring together, and you may be able to have some interesting elements on your creative projects that will enhance the project in a way that you wouldn't have been able to do with just stitching or whatever. So I hope that's helped, and next time what I'll be showing you is how far we've got with the Kawandi. And there is another element that I'm using, another project I'm using beading with, so I should be able to give you a sneak peek of that one, hopefully. And yeah, I'm just going to be going through more of these pieces, and maybe even just you know, reorganizing them so they're much better. Like these two, I don't want them together, so that they're much better represent what's in the containers, and you then don't have to, like, you know, really dig around the containers to find something, but you know, okay, broken silver jewelry, rings, brooches, gold, findings as well. Okay, so you take care, and I will see you again next time.